Naomi. Take one. Mark.
That's our name. That's our names.
Why did you want me to interview you?
Why did I choose you for this? Yeah. Yes. Well, first of all, I feel like we both know each other very well. We're some of the first, we're in this generation in the company where we're kind of the first dancers on point to be queer. And there's a lot of history of men and queerness in ballet, but not a lot of women and non-binary people. Slowly, there's a lot more visibility, but yeah, so I wanted a fellow gay.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. I really want you to talk about a pet peeve of yours or irrational fear, because you have a very strange one that I've never heard of anyone else having this.
I think it started with my sister. She hates it as well. I will say that.
Okay.
I don't like when people run on all fours or pretend to be horses. And it comes up a lot in our dressing room, as you know, because sweet, sweet Grace Shuffle loves horses. And she likes to tease me about it and do the impersonation.
But it's not even, it's like just pretending like I'm gonna put my hands.
And that comes up in choreography all the time, which is really rough. It makes me, I'm sweating thinking about it. Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Do you have one? No.
Not that comes
pretty
to
normal.
head. I mean, cockroaches, I don't know. That's not really irrational. I feel like they're gross. I'm the one that kills bugs in the dressing room. You know, like I'm not Saratoga.
Okay.
Thank you. But cockroaches, can't do. Last week, I had a cockroach in my bathroom, and I called you because I was like, Naomi, I killed it. It's dead. It's in my bathroom. I can't pick it up. It's like in pieces. I like smashed it. I can't throw it away.
It took 4
You're
people
like,
on
Ruby,
FaceTime.
It was, you know, but it was you. You were on there. You were cleaning quinoa off your floor. You're like, Ruby.
I spilled all
Just-
my quinoa. It's fine.
Because I was distracting you.
Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
no.
What are your hobbies and like how do you relax? / can you talk about your secret talents?
Secret talents. Well, okay, hobbies outside of work. Like, what do I do on my day off or like on layoff period? I make earrings. I made this one. You want to get a close up on that right there?
Yeah,
You see
sure.
that? See that one right there? I do a lot of like crafty things. I like making stuff. Hidden talents. What am I gonna? What are you?
Ruby can play any piece of music
Oh, I
on
play
the piano
piano.
after first listen.
Yeah, I play
Your
piano.
Perfect pitch, is that what it's called?
No, it's relative. I was like a classically trained pianist at age 9.
Yeah, that's
Like
a secret talent.
when I was a child, and I no longer can read music or like play Bach like I used to, but I can hear a 4-chord pop song and give you a rendition on the piano.
You played the theme in Pride and Prejudice recently, and that I almost cried. Yeah, that was a good one. Also, didn't your grandmother train you to sing opera?
Okay, so, my grandmother, my mom's mom, has her doctorate in vocal pedagogy. She passed away this past summer, but I've been reminiscing a lot on how she shaped me as a person. And one thing I often forget, because she would always practice piano with me, because she would play piano while her vocal students were singing. So she'd help me practice and like go note by note with my Bach music when I didn't want to practice, because the reason I do ballet is because I get to move all the time. I don't want to sit there and just move this. But no, so she did give me vocal lessons, and then she lightly suggested that I have more of a choir voice, which, I mean, sounds like not a horrible thing, but really it's like you
Devastating.
sing with better other
Devastating.
people. You know, I have enough of an ear to know that I'm not.
I was told to lip sync in class.
Lip sync, you know, everyone has
Moving
talents.
on.
I was wondering who your favorite author or writer was. And I think I do know, because you had a lot of her books.
I love Mary Oliver. Queer woman, I'm pretty sure. There's something about her writing that can evoke something so simple and like beautiful. It always reminds me to like slow down. But I have a piece of her work called Don't Hesitate in my theater case. And I think about it like before most shows. And I won't quote it fully, but it kind of starts off saying, if you feel a moment of joy, don't hesitate. There's too much going on in the world to not allow yourself to feel it. And then the last line is, joy is not a crumb, or joy is not made to be a crumb. And I love that because it just reminds me that like it's okay to have fun and enjoy yourself. What we do can feel very like frivolous at times. We're playing dress up, we're dancing with our best friends, and the things that we find important on a day-to-day basis can feel very petty or like small in the grand scheme of the world. But then reminding ourselves that like beauty is important, and also like art does change lives and does impact people. And so I feel like that's something that I love Mary Oliver. I've given you her book, my books of hers. I think everyone in the dressing room probably has one.
Yeah. It is very easy. Everything that's happening all across the world and in our own backyard. It's like we're just doing some wiggling on stage, and it feels like everything. And it feels like the end of the world, and you kind of step back, it's like, oh wait, this is actually like so small. And I'm spending all of my time and all my energy, because you get so burnt out doing our job, especially when it's like Nutcracker season, you know, and end of a 6-week season. It's like I'm giving my whole like life force to wiggling on stage.
Yeah.
Like I do so appreciate when people come to the show and they're like, oh, you affected me.
Yeah.
Or not even you, but like that affected me. Or like going and seeing dance or movement other places, being like, oh wait, this actually is affecting people, and maybe not in such a direct way, but yeah, I mean, I think it is important to be more direct and make change in the world. But yeah. I like to remind myself that we aren't doing nothing, and there is value in art, even if it's not some literal statement.
And sometimes that can be a better entryway for people to come to terms with things in their lives.
Help people soften.
I had like a young dancer DM me a little while back after Partita,
Oh,
and was like, I had never seen someone partner another woman. And I was like, oh, like it was so simple, but like I hadn't thought about the fact that like there could be someone in the audience that like didn't know. And like it's like you think, oh, like queerness is everywhere in the media now, and then for someone to see it live on stage, like it does mean something. And I remember that like really stuck with me, because I don't know, did you have that growing up? I didn't have that growing up. I think like up until I was a teenager, like women's sports was probably the thing.
yeah.
It wasn't really on TV. It wasn't really, other than like Ellen.
Yeah, right. That's important.
Favorite on-stage moment together? Because
okay.
we've had a couple.
We have. Okay, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Kyle Abraham, Love Letter on Shuffle. We have so many moments. I mean, it was I feel like that's when we really became close.
Yeah.
It's from Kyle's piece.
We were spending like 4 hours every day, like
Yeah.
just the two of us basically in a corner, like
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah. I mean, like for the people watching that don't really know, a new ballet, when it's you're really just like hammering away. It's hours. We usually work very quickly. You know, a couple rehearsals and you know the whole ballet, and then you put it on stage. But when it's being created, it's like, yeah, you're building the blocks, and so there's a lot of just like.
It's also like such a piece of you is in it.
Yeah.
I think it has a different feeling when you're performing that.
But yeah, that's a good one.
Do you remember that show? I got the giggles. You fell
Oh,
in a split in Love Letter.
No, but what's the
I
I Mind. In I Mind.
You fell in a split.
I don't know how.
And looked up at me as if you were a lizard. Like you were like, I
remember
lost
that.
it. It was like in slow motion. I
Yeah.
saw it, and you were down for so long.
Yeah.
You were fine. You didn't hurt
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
You
Well, 'cause
slipped.
the split, you know,
Protection.
yeah,
Protection.
saved me. Yeah.
I have never had the giggles so much. Tyler, then we got off stage and Tyler Peck had to be like, "What happened? Like,
She's
what's
in
going
front of
on?"
us.
And I couldn't get words out because I was laughing so hard.
God.
And it was also the same show that I took the wing down. I shunnied
Yes.
and wrapped myself into a wing.
It's like the
And
fabric.
so there was a
just
brick
like-
on stage. It was just one of those ones where I don't remember anything else that happened, but like the two of us just couldn't do anything right.
Also, that first lift that we do,
Yeah.
well, so many times that it just didn't work out the way we wanted it to. Like I would give you way too much force, or like not enough, because
Yeah.
we don't know how to
I hadn't figured
formally
that out
partner.
yet.
We were never given partnering classes, and you were like trying to lift me around, and I'm like, I don't want to like knock you over.
Let's talk about counts and how
Oh.
we discuss counts.
Whew. Okay, so we just talked about like how great we can be in the studio together. We can also not be great in the studio together. Okay. I think our brains just work differently in how we count music and how we like mentally organize dance, because
For our lives.
or our lives are like, okay, we don't always count the music the way that it's written. And
Yeah.
I'll hear music in a certain way. I'm like, oh yeah, this is like 3 8s and a 7, or like 3 4, you know. And then be like, okay, so now you're gonna count 14, 17, and a 3. You know, like it's
Yeah.
just totally like they'll be counting the melody instead of the. And it's like I have to really ignore my instincts at times. And you're just like, no,
I'm just someone that like I have to be told what to do and I'll do it.
you're gonna do it
And I'm gonna like do what you
the
told
way
me.
that, yeah.
Like I will always do what Rosemary.
And I'm like,
used to
I count
teach
in my
me.
own way.
And you're like, I learned this ballet from the Vimeo and it's a 7 and I'm like, "Ooh."
you know.
So we fight about that a lot.
It's just Stravinsky ballets, really.
And we always have to just remind ourselves we're saying the same thing.
Yes, we're saying the
saying
same thing, but we are talking to each other like we're fighting.
People get worried.
Yeah.
Speaking of Stravinsky ballets, do you have any dream roles?
Okay, here's the thing about dream roles. You have to know the names of the ballets. And
You can describe it. I can help
I
you.
don't know the names of anything. I don't know people's names.
okay.
I don't know ballet names. Okay, I mean, Ruby's Tall Girl, Jules was the first Balanchine ballet I ever saw. And I saw Pacific Northwest Ballet do it. I'm from Seattle. It was like my home company. I was always short as a child. I was never like the tallest in my class until I like went through puberty. So I was like, oh, I'll never get to do that. She's so tall. But now that's me.
tall.
So that for sure. Any black and white ballet, the second pas de deux in Stravinsky violin concerto. Okay, and then also
Wait, that one?
no, the first one. Sorry.
Okay.
The first one.
The Rebecca Crone.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry not to get surprised by that, but
No,
I
I
was
said
like,
I said the second, but I meant the first. See, this
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. I don't know that. Yeah,
No, I like that for you.
I love
That-
love.
Can you do a backbend?
Yes. Well, I can't go into it, but I can get out of it, and I'm learning how to go back into it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, David's teaching me. David Gabriel, my roommate and our friend, can do gymnastics, can do crazy.
I can do
Sorry,
him
crazy
in
things.
Port. Crazy
Yeah.
stuff. I couldn't watch
Crazy.
half of that because he was crawling on the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard when your friends are really talented and you can't admire it because it freaks you out. Okay, your turn.
Okay, you asked me so many questions. Okay, well, this is one that I really want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
Ballet is very old.
Yeah.
And it's been around for a long time. And both as like queer people and like people living in the current times, how do you think ballet should look and how is it currently being shaped to match that?
In the context of like New York City Ballet, I think it's like so easy to like forget how Balanchine pushed the needle in a way. And like, I think about Agon and how disliked it was at first.
Just crazy.
And people were so offended by it. And I think about all of these ballets that like I get to perform that at the time were like not loved even or considered like offensive. And then I think about when we do things like Gustav and Love Letter and new works that are choreographed on us, and even the reaction within the company and then like from the audience. And I remember that like when people are like, I just don't get it. I'm like, oh, okay. Like that always makes me feel like, okay, maybe we're doing something here.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't always understand art. And I think that's something that like we always want to like know everything and have the answers to everything. And I think art shouldn't have the answers to everything. It should make you have more questions, and like it should make you think and feel things that you might not want to feel. And we've talked about this a lot. Like, I don't think that ballet always needs to be beautiful. And it can be beautiful. But also there's something about watching someone do something with grit or with hurt in them. And like, that is something that I think we kind of need to unpack a little bit in the ballet world. So much pressure is put on us to look a certain way and to act a certain way and be delicate and be thin and like all of these things that I think actually comes as a detriment in the end, because it's like no longer about what we're doing and what we can do with our bodies and with our minds and with like our souls. And it's more so like, how do I look? And I personally never want to be a dancer that is focused on the photo. It's
live.
It's
art.
live. It's
Breathing.
not about how you look. It's about how you've made someone feel. And I think that's something that like I've had to like fight myself on, because it's so easy to get caught up on the like, oh, was my arabesque high enough? Oh, like, did my legs look okay here? Oh, like my arm looks like interesting here. Like, oh, it's kind of too high in this one frame from this 1 second of me dancing. And it's like, that's not what it's about. And I think that's something, yeah. How do you feel about that?
I mean, the thing that I get stuck on is the binary of ballet, and I don't just mean the gender binary. I mean that there's two roles.
Yeah.
And even like for the men, you know, you're always dancing behind the woman,
Yeah.
and you're presenting her. And there are even some ballets that like are beautiful, but it's like they're very, the woman is like meek and or is like a bird, and is like scared, and then the man like holds her and protects her, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but sometimes it feels limiting.
Yeah.
And as somebody who doesn't neatly fit into a gendered box, I try to frame it as a role
Yeah.
that I'm playing. It's a character. But also remembering that at the end of the day, that what we're doing is movement. And movement doesn't have a gender.
Yeah.
And it's really cool when we're doing stuff that was made on us, like Gustav, because it's like, oh, I get to wear like something that doesn't necessarily have a clear
Also not a
gender
role.
to it. It's not a gendered role, like men and
Anyone's
women
done
and
it.
all sorts of gender expressions can do this spot. But then also at the same time, I can do a ballet in a leotard and tights that's just like movement. Like this doesn't have, this doesn't mean anything unless that I want it to mean, you know? Also, letting go of control.
Yeah.
Because you were kind of talking about like the perception. Art is a live thing to be experienced. It's how you make someone feel. I can't control how someone in the audience is going to feel watching me. But ultimately, you kind of were talking yesterday about that David Bowie quote.
Yeah, never played at the gallery.
Never played a gallery.
I love it.
And I think when I get super caught up about dance and its place in the future, and ballet specifically being so old, I remember like the reason I do this is because of how it makes me feel, and
that you love to do it.
I love to do it.
Yeah.
There's the freedom and the contained, like the expanse and the drawback, and holding space for the tradition and the form, but also letting go of the baggage that is unnecessary. Okay, well, I want to ask you what you feel your strengths are as an artist and what areas you want to grow in, because what we're talking about, I think.
Yeah. Something that I've been trying to work on and that I definitely haven't figured out yet, but like it's a constant thing that I'm thinking about, is learning when to pull back. And like, I am very strong and I have the ability to do a lot. But like, it's not about if I can. It's about when I should.
And it's not
like,
about when I can. Should.
Like it's, and I think that comes from like a feeling of needing to prove myself.
Totally.
But like it doesn't, it's not always effective. And actually, Sarah Mearns, my apprentice year, I was doing a piece with her, and I was so nervous and like had not done anything in the company. And I was just trying to hit everything, and it was very much how I dance when I'm nervous. And I remember her being like, you can't just put hot sauce on chicken. And I was like, what? She was like, you have to put salt and pepper, and sometimes people put honey. And like, she was just talking about how you season meat. But like, it stuck with me because like, it is exactly. And so I'm trying to find when to soften things and when like,
Less is more.
yeah, just like finding the nuance to dance, I think is something so special. And I'm able to find it better in new works, I find, than in the roles that I do in classical ballet. And I think that's also just because I'm always kind of put into like a really like powerful role. And it's like
You do that
when you're
so
doing
well.
Hippolyta, you can't really like
Be subtle.
be soft. Like she's hunting.
Yeah.
But like finding that I think is really fun.
Yeah.
And something that I've been working on, and I think something that you're really good at doing. Like I think back at like the beginning of season in Chacon, and like your ability to like hit a beautiful arabesque and then know exactly when to like control it. And it comes down to control, I think, and like trust in yourself. But yeah, I think I sometimes like make things harder for myself, and I like ballet's you're allowed to like, it's allowed to be easy sometimes.
One thing that I do admire about you, though, is I feel like you're always dancing on the edge. Yeah. And sometimes you're right. Sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
But it's also like exhilarating
It's
because
so
it's
fun.
also like, what is she gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, how far is she gonna go? And like, there's also like a vulnerability in that. And I think the first time I really saw you shine in that close to the edge, but it also in a different way was in solo, because that was more emotionally
Yeah.
on the verge, and the movement is more like underneath yourself. I mean, at times it's expansive too, but no, in that, because that Justin Peck had choreographed that for Anthony.
Yeah.
He's a very different dancer than you are.
So different.
But it was the first time I think that I saw you at least like take off the kind of showiness
Yeah.
that like you have to do in a character role,
Yeah.
and like just kind of open up your soul.
I found out the week before I was performing that, and the first rehearsal like did not go well. Like it was just like I was trying to be Anthony, and I just like couldn't understand how I was gonna do it. Like I just like couldn't process it, and I was like, I'm the only one that's gonna do this. I don't know how to be him. And then Craig kind of had to be like, you're not Anthony. Like, stop trying to be him.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Like, there is a reason why we put you in this, and like we trust you in this, and Justin trusts you in this, and like you're never gonna be Anthony Huxley. Which I think there comes to a point in everyone's career in which they're like, I'm never gonna be Anthony Huxley.
I'm never gonna be Anthony Huxley. Gosh.
Like it's so hard.
Sorry,
but it like I think it was really freeing, and Sarah had also done that role, and she was so helpful and like so gracious with advice and just like love going into it, which always like makes me emotional to think about, just because her support throughout the years has meant so much. But like it was also just such a hard week for me in my own personal life for some reason, and just like getting to go on stage and just like let heartbreak just like happen. And it just felt like a really angsty piece. The music is so beautiful.
It is,
But yeah, you've done something where like you're completely on stage alone in Pam's work. And like, do you find that it's different mentally when you're out there because there is no one else? Like, yeah.
Watched. People are looking at me right now.
I'm being perceived.
Like, people could be looking at me when there's a bunch of people on stage. It's like, they could be looking at me, or they could not be. Like, who knows? But then in that moment, I'm like, oh, all eyes are on me.
And it's like silent.
Yeah. But the nice thing about that in Law of Mosaics is, like, I'm really taking it one step at a time, because it's like I have to be it's a muscle shaky one because it's like I'm tired and then I have to keep going afterwards. So I'm just like, stay strong. And then at the very end when I get to like do those rolls, I was like, oh, I did it. And there were a couple shows that like I was so tired because of just like the day we had before. And like we rehearse all day and then perform on it. We have 12-hour days, you know? We're there from 10:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. And it was like, in that moment, I was just like, sure, audience, this is how I'm feeling right now. And I just kind of sat down and was just like, I'm exhausted. And in that moment, I was like, you're just seeing me right now. And after that show, I was like crying. And Pam was like, no, Ruby, it was really good. Like, I'm not crying because I thought it was bad. I'm crying because I'm tired.
Exhausted.
I just can't even hide anything.
Yeah, I cry when I'm tired.
Yeah.
As we've all seen. Yeah.
Thankfully, we have a safe space in our dressing room. We have good people to hold us.
We really do. Our dressing room's the best.
Yeah. Are there any other questions I want to ask you? I mean, do you have any hobbies or interests that you think would surprise people that like have like nothing to do with dance?
I love going to a basketball game, particularly the WNBA, or like a women's soccer game, watching on TV. You'll see me watching it like in the dressing room, getting ready for a show. We'll all be watching.
We're all
talking,
going, and then we'll hear you go, yes! Out of the corner, like, what? Oh, there's a
What's
game.
happening?
Okay.
We're all going this summer.
Yeah.
Very excited to get everyone going. My sister and I are season ticket holders for the Liberty.
Let's go Liberty.
And I grew up going to Sparks games.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to be a basketball player growing up. And I was too short, I was told. Funny, because I'm almost 6 feet tall.
Now you're one of the tallest.
And I am considered like so tall.
Tally. Yeah, tall girls,
And
small girls, you're one of us.
Who knows? I think it worked out fine. I'm pretty happy.
You're doing just fine, yeah.
I've never shot a basketball in my life. So who knows?
Played like horse?
No. Don't need to. I just want to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, valid.
You have multiple siblings.
Yeah.
You're the oldest.
Yes.
I know that it's been hard to like move away from them. Do you find that when you get to work with kids at work, like you're very good at it?
Oh.
How does that?
They're just small people. They're just little guys. Yes, I have 3 younger siblings, and it's like central to my identity, as you guys have pointed out to me as well. I'm such an older sibling, sometimes to a fault. But no, leaving them, because I was 15, but they're all younger than me. Yeah. So they were kids, and like every time I go home, they are taller and have like even more independence, personality, what have you. And now that they're older, they all have phones, so I can communicate with them more. But no, I miss them always. And specifically Nutcracker party scene. There was one year where my kids in party scene were the same age as my sister. And my party scene son became my sibling. Yeah. And I was like, my son, hello. And he was like, hello, mother. And it was like we had a little bit going, but like it was Christmas and I missed my family. And so you kind of make a little family. But kids just want to be treated like full people. Yeah. And so I really enjoy giving them my ear. Yeah. Also, since I was in that documentary, the Disney Plus documentary,
they all know
kids know who I am. Yeah. I'm like a very specific age. Yeah. And so it's cool sometimes feeling like people know who I am. Like, yeah, I'm a celebrity with the 12-year-olds.
That was my first impression of you.
Which is hilarious.
Like, I remember I was home during the pandemic. I had just had surgery, and I was watching with my parents.
Oh, wait, from the documentary?
We were watching Disney Plus, and I was like, this person seems cool. I like him. Like, yeah, I'm excited for this one to get into the company. Because sometimes you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
you never know.
Another bunhead. But then I was like, I think this is cool.
Yeah. So, show and tell time. I need to preface this by saying at New York City Ballet, we have a wonderful hair and makeup, runs the hair and makeup room, Susie Alvarez.
Love.
And she just loves us all so much. She calls us all baby. Baby, I need you to come in, get your hair done. Baby, what's going on with your makeup? Baby, fix that.
Baby, you're shiny.
Baby, you're shiny. Yeah. Baby, you look like you have Vaseline on your forehead. Put on some powder. But the number one Susie saying is, baby, you need spray. So
It's when your
my-
hair is looking a little frizzy.
It's looking a little frizzy, so I've emptied it for the purposes. But this is my green spray bottle that Anna Snellgrove, one of our dear friends, took a Sharpie and wrote, "Baby, you need spray." Thing is, she's referring to hairspray. And
This is going to open another can of worms.
yes, so Susie, plug your ears.
Susie, don't listen to
Don't
this.
listen to this.
Do not listen
I
to
have
this.
patented the drench method.
I hate the drench method.
Because, okay, it doesn't work for your hair because you have curly hair.
No, I hate when you do the drench method because it affects me.
Because then my hair's wet. Okay, so I'm on my hair protection journey. We wear a lot of hair ties, got a lot of split ends. We use a lot of hairspray.
Yeah.
And when we're doing a ballet where I'm not on stage for that long, or if I want to go home after the show or do something afterwards and not look insane,
Absolutely.
and or like I have clean hair, I will just drench my hair with this.
Water.
It's just water.
just water.
And so it's like I just got out of the shower, and then I'll put it into a bun, and it'll stay like that because it'll dry like that.
Can I tell a story about this?
Yeah.
Ruby and I did Love Letter once, and Ruby drench methoded.
Did
that the right word?
drench method.
And then also had some hairpins because drench method doesn't work. And so you have to pin all of the hair that's going to come out if it's not gelled in. And
Okay.
Ruby and I, again, doing a little queer moment.
We put our heads
we have
on
to
each
put our heads on each other. And what happens? One, my head is soaking wet now with what I'm hoping is water and not sweat.
I'm so sorry.
My hair is caught and I'm stuck in a chambray back because my hair is stuck to Ruby's 50 hairpins holding drench method together. And I can't get out of it.
You know.
Our arms are intertwined and I'm trying to support Ruby. And yet I can't because my head is stuck to their head.
You know.
And so that's what I have to say about
know,
drench method.
You know.
I
That was
use
a moment
baby you
of-
need spray every day.
That was a moment of weakness, and I apologize. Drench method is not for everyone and not for every ballet, and we have learned that the hard way.
But it does work.
It works when you have to do a low ponytail and then quick change it to a high ponytail.
Great.
Because then your hair isn't crunchy and doesn't look like you have dandruff. Because you try to brush hairspray,
Absolutely.
it gets all white. Anyway,
Yeah.
Drench method. Everyone uses this, and they don't say, "Ruby, can I use your spray bottle?" They say, "Ruby, can I have your baby you need spray? Baby you need spray.
Baby you need spray.
Baby you need
Should I
spray."
spray some? No, there's some.
It definitely has water in the little handle. I tried to empty it.
It's so good.
And it's also like the Sharpie is coming off. That's a permanent marker. We use it so often that the Sharpie is coming off.
This comes on tour.
Yeah.
This has been to London.
That's been to London, that's been to Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
Yeah.
DC, all the places.
Baby, you need spray.
Spring.